everyone. Welcome back to Logan's Voice. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad, and September is National Recovery Month. So we're going to continue on that theme, and today I want to talk about two things that I believe are at the very heart of recovery, and honestly, at the heart of surviving grief as well. Those two things are asking for help and breaking the silence of stigma. We live in a world that tells us asking for help is weakness, that if you can't do it all on your own, you're failing. But the truth is, asking for help takes more strength than most people will ever know. And silence, especially the silence that comes from stigma, kills people. Breaking that silence can save lives. When Logan was young, he was diagnosed with ADHD. The first thing the doctors did was prescribe Ritalin. That was his first exposure to just take a pill and fix it philosophy. And as young parents, we trusted the system and the men in the white coats. We thought we were doing the right thing, but what that planted was a pattern. Don't talk about the deeper struggles, just medicate, just move on. And then, as Logan grew, when he began to experiment, the world around him wasn't saying ask for help. The world was saying don't admit it. Don't air your dirty laundry. Don't be weak. That's the lie. That asking for help means you failed. But here's the truth. Every single person I know who has stepped into recovery had to first be brave enough to admit they couldn't do it alone. And that takes real courage. If you've ever asked for help, even once, you are stronger than the stigma that tried to silence you. Now, let's talk about stigma, because it's one of the most powerful silencers we face. Stigma is that voice that says, don't talk about it, people will judge you. Stigma is those labels, junkie, addict, failure. Stigma is what kept Logan from always being honest with us. It's what kept my family sometimes feeling like we had to hide. And stigma doesn't just hurt the person using, it ripples out, isolates families. It keeps people from seeking treatment. It tells grieving parents like me to stay quiet about how our child died because people might whisper. But here's the thing. Silence never saved anybody. Silence feeds the shame. Silence lets this crisis keep growing in the shadows. The opposite of silence is storytelling. It's speaking names. It's creating safe spaces where people can come together without judgment. That's why groups like Hope Movement Coalition matter. That's why we gather every Monday night on Zoom or once a month in person. That's why we hold Bridge the Gap every year. Because when we speak openly, when we tell our stories, when we say our children's name, stigma loses its power. And here's what I want you to hear if you're listening today. And if you're in recovery, your story is somebody else's survival guide. Every time you tell the truth about what you've walked through, you light a path for someone who is still lost in the dark. First, recognize that asking for help is strength. If you're struggling today, make one call. Reach out to one safe person. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take that one step. Second, challenge stigma wherever you see it. If you hear someone using words that dehumanize people in addiction, speak up. If you're grieving, speak your child's name. If you're in recovery, share your journey. Every time we replace judgment with compassion, every time we choose honesty over silence, we make the road safer for the next person. My son Logan isn't here to tell his story, but I am. And every time I speak his name, every time I share his story, I chip away at the stigma that tried to silence him. And I want to leave you with this truth. Asking for help is not weakness. It's your superpower. Breaking the silence is not shame. It's survival. You're not alone and you're not weak. Thank you for joining me on Logan's Voice. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs encouragement. Let's keep breaking that silence together. Follow us on YouTube channel, Logan's Voice. Like, comment, share. And until next time, remember, I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.